Are you feeling excited about all the new designs coming out for Nashville Needlework Market? Me too. Grab your stitching, get your favorite beverage, get comfortable in your stitching chair, and let's talk new releases. Hi there, welcome to the Luminous Fiber Arts Flosstube channel. I'm Misty Purcell. I design cute and whimsical cross-stitch patterns that will make you smile. Thank you for joining me today. I'm excited to talk to you about Nashville Needlework Market and spring releases. If you're new to cross-stitch or you've been away from cross-stitch for a while, you might not be familiar with the Nashville Needlework Market. It is an in-person trade show. And a trade show that's only for shops, but the exciting thing is that all kinds of new goodies come out for stitchers. So cross-stitch designers, fabric dyers, floss dyers, people who make accessories for cross-stitching, all those kinds of things. They go to the Embassy Suites in Franklin, Tennessee, which is near Nashville. And this one weekend, the first weekend of March, everyone turns the front end of their hotel room into a little shop where they sell their new things, like they're debuting new things, and maybe they bring some of their other products as well. And these can be people from the United States, outside the United States, and then shop owners will come that weekend from around the country and around the world, and they will see what's new, and they'll bring home lots of goodies for you, the stitchers. So it's a really big, exciting event, lots of energy, and it's so fun to see everyone and to see all the new products and everything. So it's a really, really exciting time. And so I'm excited to be here with you today to show you my 6 releases for spring and Nashville Needlework Market. And let's start off with the next design in my gathering series. So first up is the next design in my gathering series. This is design number 7. Can you guess what we're gathering now? It's violets. So it's a beautiful spring day. Picture it, there's a potting bench outside. We've got the hand hoe. We've been working hard to pot maybe some wild violets from outside. And then you walk away and some cute little birds show up and they're drawn to the beauty of the flowers and they think, oh, this would be great to adorn our nest. So they take a few. So cute. This design was inspired actually by a conversation at last year's market when I was speaking with some shop owners about ideas for future gathering designs, and gathering violets came up once or twice in talking to people. And so I thought, yeah, that's a great idea. I would love to do that. I love violets and they're such a nice sign of spring after all of the, at least where I live, all of the snow. So yeah, I loved designing this, and I started out designing it actually just like a quick sketch in Procreate. I didn't try to make the sketch pretty. I was just trying to figure out like what would be in the design and where did I think it would go. I think for your amusement, I'm going to show you the sketch. Like I said, this was not like me trying to do anything really fancy here, but just to get a quick idea before I sat down to work on it on my design software. I use MacStitch. So really pleased with how this turned out. I think this would be beautiful in any display, any spring display that you would want to display it in. I think it could look especially nice if you have like a garden theme display with maybe some pots, some things that are green and some white and purple. That would look really pretty. Maybe some seed packets in there too could look really nice. And this design was model stitched by Paige Reynolds. She did a beautiful job, so thank you so much, Paige. And if you're looking for tutorials on how to do this kind of a finish, Vonna has a great tutorial on doing a pillow with ruched ribbon. I'll link that in the description below the video for you. I have a tutorial on doing 2 layers of ruched ribbon minus the beads, but she has one that includes the beads. So you can see I used purple beads here to go with the purple rayon ribbon. So this design includes only full cross stitches, so it's good for any level of stitcher, including a brand new beginner. This was stitched on 32 count vintage country mocha linen by Zweigart. So if you've been stitching along in the series, you know that I've been stitching it on my hand-dyed fabric Sparrow, but I'm not able to dye fabric any longer. So I always listed this as a substitute, and now I am using it, and it works just great. So 32 count vintage country mocha linen, and then the floss is Belle Soie Boys and Beauty, which is from Classic Colorworks, and you only need 1 skein if you're stitching on 32 count or above. The rayon ribbon trim is Wizard from Lady Dot Creates. Lois always has such beautiful trims, and it's a delight to work with them. So I have, in my shop, I have fabric available, I have floss available, and I have ribbon available all separately, and you can find them on my website. I always include 2 versions of the chart, a version with buttons and without. On this particular design, I didn't design a different motif to go here because I thought it looked fine just with nothing there if you chose to put nothing there, but usually I do have like a motif that would go in place of the buttons if you don't want to do the buttons. And I always include also some suggestions for alternative buttons if you're going to stitch this on a higher count fabric and you need smaller buttons. So let's take a look at the Gathering series, shall we? We have Gathering Clover, Gathering Snowflakes, Gathering Stitches, Gathering Berries, Gathering Acorns, and Gathering Honey. So this has been a super popular series. I'm happy that I was able to come up with another design for it because I know people enjoy stitching it so much. I don't really have a particular schedule for releasing them. It's just if I have an idea, I will release it. And when I don't have ideas, I won't. So we'll see how many more ideas I have. If you want to suggest more gathering ideas, please feel free to do so in the comments. I welcome your suggestions. So let's continue on with the series theme and talk about the final design in my seasonal trio series. And this is Liberty, Glory, Unity. So we have the Statue of Liberty, Old Glory, and the Great Seal. So each of the designs in this series, this is the 4th one, so there are 4. Each one has 3 sections with a word in each section, and all of the words share either the same first or last letter. So in this case, they all end in Y, and that was kind of how I designed them with that in mind, and then created, imagery that would go with the words that I chose. And I have to say that I really love how this came out. And this was the one that was the hardest for me to design. I had a hard time deciding what words to use and what letter to share, and then what would be the best imagery to go with that word. So this one took me the longest to design, and I just kind of had to keep coming back to it and working on it, but I just love how it came out. I'm so pleased with it. I think this is a great one to end the series on. So I think, like all of the designs in this series, this looks great stitched together. You could stitch it vertically if you wanted. Excuse me, it is vertical. You could stitch it horizontally if you wanted. You could also stitch them separately as ornaments or small pillows and put them in a dough bowl or a tiered tray. That would look awesome. Lots of possibilities. Like if you could do an ornament finish that's flat, an ornament finish that's a pillow. Yeah. Whatever you want to do with it, it'll look amazing. This was model stitched by Sandy Alba. She did a beautiful job with it. Thank you so much, Sandy. This design includes full cross stitches. It includes long and back stitches, and it includes some fractional stitches here in the church, in the steeple, the top of the bell tower there, the tops of the windows, and the top of the door. So if you would prefer to omit those, either because of the fabric that you're using or you just don't enjoy fractional stitches, you could definitely do that. But yeah, I'm super happy with how this turned out. So let's talk about the supplies. So this was stitched on 32 count milk and honey linen by Fiber on a Whim. And it uses Classic Colorworks Apple Fritter, Bamboo, Tropical Paradise, Blacksmith Blue, Black Coffee, and Weeks Dyeworks Sand. And then it uses also some colors of DMC, 801, 3787, 597, 320, 3829, 3820, 3371, 3064, and 21. So the other designs in this series are Hop, Peep, Leap, and again, these all end in P. So we have a bunny, a chick, and a lamb. And then we have Sneaky, Spooky Spells, a witch, a ghost, a kitty, mouse, and jack-o'-lantern. And lastly, we have Jingle, Jolly, Joy, which was the first design that I released. So we have Rudolph, Santa, and a snowman with a cardinal. So all of these designs, each rectangle's dimensions are exactly the same for all of them across all the designs, and then the final size all stitched together is also identical. So if you have stitched some of the other ones and you're already using something to display them that you could swap out, then you would just be able to swap out because they're the same size. So yeah, so excited to have this series completed and just really pleased with how the whole series has turned out. And I hope that you've enjoyed this series as well. So you can purchase kits on my website that contain the fabric and the over-dyed flosses. I don't include the DMC in my kits, but most likely you have those or can pick up a couple colors if you need them. So I do have the fabric available in other counts and bases beyond just 32 count, which was what was used in the model. There are other options if you'd like them. So continuing on with our patriotic theme is American Eagle coverlet. And this is like a really nice, classic, kind of traditional design. I am a weaver, and I was browsing like weaving imagery and weaving drafts, and just enjoyed looking at the motifs and the graphics and thought I should do something inspired by weaving that's patriotic. So that's what I did, and I knew I wanted an eagle, so that was where I started, an eagle with a flag. And then I just kind of went from there. I knew I wanted these motifs in there because they come from weaving, like you see them in overshot weaving. And then, you know, the design just evolved. So this was where I started. I knew I wanted this in here somewhere, and then I ended up adding America and then adding the stripes and the stars. And so it was just kind of an interesting design that started with a couple of ideas, and then I just, you know, kept playing around until I got to what I wanted, which was this really nice piece. Super classic, really pretty. I really love incorporating my other fiber arts into my cross stitch designing. You know, I have influences from quilting and knitting and weaving, and I just think it makes for really interesting designing and is a nice nod to those other fiber arts that I enjoy. I think this would look beautiful in your patriotic display, maybe with some small American flags, or some patriotic colored pinwheels would be really cool too. I was thinking of doing that myself, actually. So, and maybe something white around it would be pretty. I really love this frame for it with the silver and the blue. It's so nice. So this was stitched by Tammy Maddox, and she did a beautiful job. And congratulations to Tammy. She recently welcomed her first granddaughter into the world, and I think she's really enjoying her new granddaughter. So congratulations, Tammy. So this design includes only full cross stitches, which would make it great for a beginner to more experienced stitcher. The fabric used is 32 count cappuccino linen from Fiber on a Whim. And then the rest of the flosses are all Weeks Dye Works, Candy Apple, 3 skeins, Parchment, 2 skeins, Navy, 2 skeins, Glacial Melt, 1, and Spanish Moss, 1. Glacial Melt was such a pretty color. It came out maybe 2 years ago at market. And I remember thinking as soon as I saw it, like, I've got to do something with it. It took me a little while, but I did do something with it eventually. I have kits available on my website containing the fabric and the over-dyed floss, and I have some different fabric options in terms of count and base. So if you don't stitch on 32 count linen, I have some other options available for you. So now let's shift gears and talk about fall. I love this design so much that I actually asked my model stitcher Paige to stitch it for me twice in 2 different colors. So if you're looking for something that's maybe a little bit more traditional, then you might prefer this version with the dark chocolate colored silk floss. It's a little bit more subtle and classic. And this is called Autumn's Acorns, by the way. I don't think I said that. And then if you want something that feels a little bit more like cozy and gives you that feel of that warm glow of fall, then you might prefer to stitch it in the rust colored silk instead. I love how both versions turned out. It's really fun to see how something looks stitched into completely different colors and with 2 different finishes. So one's a frame finish and one is a pin pillow. I think this would look really pretty, especially if you're going to choose this colorway, maybe with some candles. You know how I feel about battery powered candles. I'm a big fan. So, you know, you could have like a nice little display with a cozy glow with some flickering battery powered candles. I think that would look really nice for fall with your other fall decorations. Maybe some pumpkins nearby. So I always say this, but I have to say it again. Single color stitching is super relaxing. Working with silks, both of these are stitched in silks, is so nice. It's so smooth. It gives a nice sheen to your project. It's just buttery smooth. So highly recommend stitching with silk. If you've not tried it yet, this is a great way to do a small splurge and just dip your toe in, because you only need 1 or 2 skeins for these kinds of designs that I tend to do with the silks. So it's not a big outlay of money, and you get to just try it out and see what you think. And sometimes people worry that they'll like it so much that they won't be able to go back to cotton. I don't find that to be true. I love silk. I also still love stitching with cottons, but it's fun to have the variety of mixing in the silks, either with your cottons in one design or mixing it up between designs. So this was, as I said, model stitched by Paige Reynolds, and she did a beautiful job with both versions. I'm curious to know which one is your favorite. Are you team Rust or team dark chocolate? Let me know in the comments. Depends on the day. For me, I think I lean slightly towards Rust, but I like them both a lot, and it just kind of depends on the vibe I think that you want. Okay, so let's talk about the design. It's only full cross stitches, so good for a beginner on up to more experienced stitcher. And then let's talk supply list. This was stitched on 32 count toasted coconut linen by Forbidden Fiber Company. Both models were stitched on the same fabric. And then the rust colored version was stitched with 1 skein of Belle Soie Sonoran Sunset. And the dark chocolate color was stitched with 2 skeins of Threadworks A188 dark chocolate. The reason that you need 2 skeins is because they have half as much floss as a Belle Soie skein. So you need 2 instead of 1. You can purchase the fabric and floss separately on my website. So one product is the fabric, and then I have a product that's the floss, and then you can choose from the drop-down menu whether you want the dark chocolate floss 2 skeins or the Sonoran Sunset floss 1 skein. So it comes packaged with 2 skeins if you're going to do the dark chocolate already, and then just the 1 skein if you're going to do the Sonoran Sunset. So you can choose it from the drop-down menu, whichever color is your favorite. I didn't mention this because I didn't include it in the pattern photo, but I did add some. This is Rusty Gate rayon ribbon from Lady Dot Creates, and I added a charm. You can see it's a little acorn charm there. And then these really pretty pins. So part of the reason I really wanted this bow on here, but there's no way to lay this down to photograph it and not have the bow cover stuff up, and otherwise it just looked weird, like dangling. I couldn't photograph it. So I didn't include it in the pattern, but I did put it on here because I like it. But because I couldn't commit to it for sure, I just put it in with a push pin and I can take it out if I want. So either way, you could do the same. I think I tried doing shorter ribbon and I felt like it didn't seem to look as good, so I ended up going with longer. I think I made this bow like 4 times before I got somewhere with it that I was happy with. Make your Christmas tree merrier this year with the adorable trio from Wintergreen Christmas. We have Santa waving, laughing, and shouting ho ho ho. We have Prancer smiling happily. And we have a peaceful forest of pine trees with the snow falling softly. And then the embellishments make these ornaments extra special. So adding in the baker's twine, the felt holly leaves, and the red jingle bells just makes it extra special. And the inspiration for these designs was I challenged myself to draw and procreate some package stickers for Christmas, stickers that would say like to and from. And I designed them and I really loved them, and I wondered, could I turn these into cross stitch? And so the reindeer and Santa were from the sticker sheet actually. And the pattern includes the oval template and the template for the leaves. It includes the sources for the twine, the felt, and the berries. And also with the templates, I've sized them for 4 different fabric count options. So 14/28, 16/32, 18/36, and 20/40 count. So depending on whether you're doing like Ada, for example, or linen Lugana. Lots of options there, so you don't have to just do it on the size that I did. This was stitched by me and by Paige Reynolds. I stitched the reindeer and Santa, and then Paige helped me out by finishing up with the beautiful stitching she did on the forest of pine trees. So this design includes full cross stitches. It does include a little bit of back stitching and long stitching, and there are a few fractional stitches in Santa's mouth. If you needed to omit those, you could do that. But you can see there's some back stitching and long stitching here for his mustache. And then on Prancer's mouth here as well. So the supplies, oh, and I would say this would be good for a confident beginner. You don't have to have a lot of stitching experience to be able to do it. You just have to be able to look up and see how the stitches are done and do them yourself. And none of these are hard. You know, you just have to practice a little bit. So supplies, I used 32 count soft sea linen dyed by me, Classic Colorworks Snowball, Mistletoe, Blackbird, Weeks Dye Works, Roasted Fig and Emerald, and then quite a bit of DMC. So 816, 347, 950, 300, 01, 898, 353, 938, 3852, 3778, 3821, 03. And you also might be interested in the coordinating Jolly St. Nick needle minder. I also use, as I said, red and white baker's twine. The metallic red jingle bells are 3/8 of an inch, and then green craft felt. So here is the adorable needle minder. So I also drew this in Procreate and vectorized it and had it turned into a needle minder. And you can see, just like that, it works. And I made up a song about this. I'm kind of weird. So here is the song. He minds it when you're sleeping. He minds it when you're awake. He minds it if you've been bad or good. So be good for goodness sake. Okay, that's really the end of it. But it's rare that I sing in public. It's weird, you know, if you had asked or told 16-year-old me that 43-year-old me would be willing to record myself voluntarily and then publish it online for tons of people to potentially see it, and then to sing in public on those videos, I'd have thought you were nuts. So, strange how life goes. Strange turns your life can take. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my Santa's Minding Your Needle tonight. I hope you enjoyed my Santa's Minding Your Needle song. Okay, so I have kits. The kits include some of my hand-dyed fabric, what was left from last year, and they also include alternatively Vintage Tiffany, which is from Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie, which is a beautiful substitute. So kits will include one or the other, just depending on what I have. I'm sorry, I can't take requests for which fabric there is. It's just too complicated to do that. But it's a good substitute, so don't fear. And then they also include the overdyed floss and the needle minder. So that's what the kit has. It includes enough fabric for 32 count and higher to stitch all 3 ornaments. However, if you're stitching on like a 14 or 28 count, you're probably only going to get 2 ornaments out of it, I'm guessing, because it's a fat 1/8, so it's a small cut. I do have the needle minders available separately from the kit in case you want the needle minder for your other Christmas projects, which would be super adorable. Okay, and let's see what the last release is. So when I think about Santa Claus, I like to think of him as very like joyful and playful and not as cranky as he seems in the Rudolph movie. I don't know if you watch that as an adult, sometimes it's like, man, he's really in a bad mood a lot of that movie. Anyway, so I like to think of Santa like that. And so that was kind of the inspiration for this design, was imagining how Santa spends some of his free time being playful. And as you can see, he's kind of an acrobat. So he is perched atop one of his reindeer. He's got one leg jauntily kicked out. He's holding a candy cane, and then he's got a stack of gifts in the other hand. So he has excellent balance, actually. And then we have his reindeer, who has no problem holding him up because it's a magical reindeer. So yes, this is Santa being playful and cute, and his reindeer, Cupid. So this would look super cute in your Christmas display. You could frame it. I love this frame with the red and white in it. I think it's so pretty with this design. But you could also maybe do a wall hanging or some kind of a flat finish. I think it'd be super cute. I did want the snowflakes to be more faint colored on the fabric so that they're soft and just kind of noticeable, but not super standout-ish. You could use a different color if you wanted to make them stand out more. And the model stitcher for this was me. Once in a while, I managed to stitch some of my own models, and this was one that I did. So this design includes some back stitches and long stitches, like for example, you can see in the candy cane, and then there's a little bit of fractional stitches in Santa's mouth once again, because I like my Santas apparently to have like a, I don't know, I can't make that smile, but you get my idea. Like a U shape with a line across the top. And there are also, you can see in the eyes, his eyelashes. Now some of the eyelash lines, and also on the mouth, some of the eyelash lines will actually fall in the middle of a stitch if you're stitching on Aida. So if you don't want to pierce your fabric, you could just adjust them, or you could leave off the eyelashes and just do the eye lines, and it will look good that way too. I did test that and I thought it looked good both ways. Or if you just don't feel like messing with eyelashes, just do the eye lines and leave them off. It's up to you. This is so cute. So this design was inspired by a greeting card that I had done, that I illustrated in Procreate, and I heard from several people that they would be interested in seeing this turned into a cross stitch pattern. So I'm happy I was able to do that, because some things that I create, that I draw out, I don't feel like they translate as well to cross stitch without making them huge. So sometimes, or it's just something about the way I've designed it that it doesn't work as well in cross stitch as it does just as an illustration, but I'm really happy that this one did work out. So what are the supplies? 32 count honey blush linen by Forbidden Fiber Company, classic Colorworks brandied pears and black coffee, Weeks Dye Works emerald, and then some colors of DMC, 347, Blanc, 3866, 801, 3774, 729, 3778, 415, Ecru, and 816. So I have a very limited number of kits, which include the fabric and the overdyed floss, and they include the greeting card. And then I also, because my kits are so limited, I also have some of the fabric just available separately, the honey blush, so you can grab that as well separately from the kits if they're sold out or you just want the fabric. So those are my new releases for Nashville Needlework Market and Spring. I hope that you saw some things amongst the lineup that were exciting to you and get you excited about doing some stitching. As I said, have supplies available to stitch the designs. If you'd like to purchase the pattern from me, I have the pattern available in print or PDF format on my website. So you can head to luminousfiberarts.com. I'll link it in the description below the video. The patterns are listed as one product, and then you choose from the drop-down menu whether you prefer a print copy that's shipped to you or whether you prefer a digital download that you just download. You can also order these patterns from your local needlework shop and your favorite online needlework shop. So send them your pre-orders from Market and they will be happy to pick it up for you and get you exactly what you need, along with all of the other goodies that I'm sure you're getting excited about, so they can get your wish list together all in one order and have it ready for you or shipped to you. So definitely let your shop know if you would like them to order one of these patterns for you. Thank you so much for watching and for your support and your time and your comments. And if you'd like to stick around, I will share a little bit of some personal projects I've been working on, some knitting and some weaving. So I'll be sharing those things and talking a little bit about what I've been up to if you'd like to stick around for that. So in my last video, I was finishing up knitting a hat called Alder, and it was a Fair Isle hat, and I have finished it. I'm trying to find the front to show you rather than the back. Trying to find where's the join, the color join. Here we go. I've got it back to me. So it turned out super pretty. So this is Alder by Faye Kennington. I knit it in Malabrigo Rios in Pines and Natural. So this is a Fair Isle hat. It's a pretty easy Fair Isle knit, I would say, compared to some. Like, it's a pretty good repetitive pattern that's relatively easy to memorize. I love the leaves. It's really beautiful. And I used the needles that were what she used in the pattern to get gauge. I did not check my gauge. I figured I was pretty close. I've loosened up over the years. I started out as an incredibly tight knitter, and I had to actively retrain myself to knit looser. And so I've loosened up. Just like in my own life, I would say I've loosened up over the years. It is also true of my knitting and my crochet. I was talking last time about whether I would add a pom-pom or not. I wasn't sure. This is a removable pom-pom. So I used a clover pom-pom maker, which is great for making pom-poms. Yes, you can do it with a fork, but honestly, the only time I do it with a fork is if I need one that's so tiny that a pom-pom maker can't do it. So anyway, I use the clover pom-pom maker, and then you take one long strand and kind of tie it around the middle and knot it up. And then you can just take the two long strands and you put a button on the inside of the hat, pull the two strands through the center of the hat, and then run them through the button and tie a little bow or a little knot, and then it's removable if you want it to be removable. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. I've worn it a couple of times now. I'll show you how it looks. The pom-pom does get in the way a little bit of my headrest, but I can kind of shift it to the side or take off the hat or whatever. It's not bad. It's not as bad as the faux fur ones, which I love, but they are too big for my car. My headrest is like right there, and then it's like, I feel like I'm being pushed forward. So yeah, super cute hat. I love it. Definitely recommend it. If you're looking for a hat, maybe you don't need the excuse of a new coat like I did, but I would recommend this pattern. I'll put a link in the video description. And then I have one other project, another knitting project I started. It's in my Keep Calm and Carry yarn bag, which a friend got for me. This bag is from Jenny G. She used to be on Etsy, but I don't think she is now. Maybe she still is, I don't know. This is called Mini Jumper, and it's in pieces. So the pattern is, well, first let me say, if you've been around here for any length of time, you know that I love tiny knits. And I know that some of you love tiny knits because a lot of you commented on my last video about how much you love the tiny mitten. So the next thing, of course, was to do some more tiny knitting, and I decided to do a sweater. This is called Mini Jumper. It's by Sarah Price. Her design company is called Say Little Hen, and I follow her on Instagram. And when I saw this pattern, I was like, well, yeah, I mean, I need to knit that. So I'm knitting it in Malabrigo, or no, in Madeline Tosh Merino Light. Here's the body of the sweater. Not very exciting. These are size 0 double pointed needles. And then I have the two sleeves that I've knit up from the cuff. So this is gonna be, I believe it's a raglan. So yeah, here are my sleeves. Here's the body. I'm working on it. I was knitting with I was having like a crafty Zoom with some friends, and I had one sleeve done. I finished the other sleeve, and then I started the body while I was talking to them. I haven't gotten back to it. So these I'm using, I'm not sure what color this is, but natural is the white, and then whatever this red is, I'm sorry, I don't remember off the top of my head. I am using Knitter's Pride carbons, which are currently my favorite double pointed needle. I've tried a lot of them. There are plenty of nice ones out there, but these are my current favorites. I like the amount of pointiness on them. I feel like the joins are pretty good. I just like the feel of them. So I've been using these for a while and liking them. I'm not opposed to trying new things and finding a new favorite, but that's my current go-to. And then the last project I'm working on is my hand-woven towels, which I showed you a little bit of in the last video. So I've made it through 3 towels. So I'm halfway through the project because I warped the loom for 6 towels. They've ended up being a little bit longer than I intended just because I didn't know exactly how many repeats of the pattern I would need to do to get it to be about the length I want. And so I'm ending up with maybe like an inch longer than what I allotted for. I think I can still get 6, but we'll see. So I did 2 towels that were like more white dominant with different colored stripes. And then I did a red towel that was, well, red dominant and some different colored stripes, but I put like more colors of stripes. I think I had like five or six different shuttles going, which is the maximum I have, really. It's nice to have that many shuttles so you don't have to constantly be changing what's in the shuttle. But yeah, so that one was a little bit more tedious to weave because of all the color changes I was doing. And now I think I'm going to do the opposite of the first one. So like the first one was white dominant, and then wherever there was white, I will put red, and vice versa. And I might do like 2 towels like that. And then I'm not sure what I'll do for the final towel. I'll see, but I'm excited, really enjoying it. And I'm of course planning the next warp. And for that one, I'm thinking I'm going to do a natural colored warp and do a twill. And then pick a bunch of different patterns where all I'm changing is the tie up, which is which shafts go down when you push on the treadles. So all the threading would be the same, and the treadling would be the same, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. But then it'll be an 8 shaft twill, and then I can just, however often I want to change patterns, I can change by just changing the tie up on the loom, and then I'll change the color of the weft every so often too. So I know I want to weave some yardage to sew with, so I know that one's gonna be red and natural. And then I picked out some other patterns that I want to do with that that threading, and I'll just do some different colors in the weft, and it should be really fun. I've done that before, but it's just been a long time since I've done it, so it should be good to get back to it. I did some, oh man, years ago, like 6 years ago, I think was the last time I did it, because you know I haven't been doing a lot of weaving since I started designing cross stitch patterns. But anyway, I'm excited about that. If I get a chance, maybe I'll stick in a little video of me weaving. And if I do, I'll put that here. Can you see all the shuttles I have here because of all the color changes I was doing? Let's fix that. I'm going to weave 20 picks of this, and then I'm going to change colors, but probably won't have you watch all of that. We'll do some editing. Okay, so here you can see I've woven, I don't know, 3 or 4 inches now. This line here is a cutting line, so I put a thicker yarn in, and then when I take these off the loom, I'm just gonna zigzag on each side of it to secure the ends, and then I can just cut right along this purple line in between the 2 threads, and then that will cut my towels apart. And then this is a hem, and this is also a hem, and then you can see how it gets thicker right here. So this is where the actual towel starts. Did some red, white, pink, white, red, and then I'm going to do some greens, and this is how it's looking right now. So you can see it gets a little bit pinky looking where the red and the white are crossing, where the white is the warp and the red is the weft. But yeah, that's my current project. I hope you enjoyed a little peek at my weaving. Things are going well in my life right now. Things are fine. It's busy getting ready for heading out to Nashville. If you don't know, I'm also a teacher. I teach college Spanish. I teach in the introductory levels Spanish 3. Semester is going well. We're already at the 1/3 of the way through the semester mark. When I go to Nashville, we will be halfway through the semester. I have a nice group of students this semester, and my first class especially is just really a joy to have. It's 9 o'clock, which for a lot of students, they're very tired and not as interactive as like classes that are more around like 11, 12, 1, those kinds of times. But this group like comes in and starts speaking Spanish like the moment they get in there, because they know I want them to, but that doesn't necessarily translate to it happening. So this group does. They try really hard. They do a really good job making small talk if they finish early, which again is something I want them to do, but that doesn't necessarily translate to it actually happening. And they just, yeah, they really enjoy each other. They seem to be enjoying Spanish and enjoying the class, and it's just been so nice. So I'm really enjoying all of the students, but that group in particular has been a real treat for me. It's unusual at 9 a.m. to have that level of enthusiasm. Like maybe this is the only time at 9 a.m. that I've had that level of enthusiasm. Might be the only time I ever do. What else am I doing? I'm taking a watercolor painting class. I've mentioned before that I'm doing some sketching classes over time, and I had been doing one with Liz Steele, so now I'm doing her watercolor class, which focuses on, you know, the actual paint itself, the pigments, how much water you need, how to use your brush, those kinds of things. And I've learned that, boy, I have a really hard time doing landscapes. That's a struggle for me. But I'm enjoying the class and learning a lot. And there's like a live stream every week on YouTube that I catch the ones that I'm awake for. So it's like alternates every week. One week it's at like 5 my time in the evening, and then the other week it's at like 4 a.m. And I try not to be up at 4 a.m. if I can help it. I can be, but I prefer not to be. So that's going well. Busy getting ready for market. I'll be leaving the Wednesday of that week of market. So what is that, the 28th? Yeah. I will be teaching, and then as soon as I am done teaching, I will be leaving town. So I will have the car all packed, and I will be going as soon as I'm done and getting on the road, because we go part of the way on Wednesday and then the rest of the way on Thursday. And then we get to the hotel and we unload and check in and try to get everything into the room. And if we have energy, we start to do some setup. And then the rest of it we finish on Friday before the event starts. So yeah, it's gonna be a busy time, but looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing designer friends and shop friends and the excitement and atmosphere of being there. And my friend Cynthia is planning to go with me to help me with my booth. And then we're planning some like fun things. We'll stay an extra day just to finish packing up and to recover. We'll do a few fun things around Nashville area. I've already got some plans in place. And then I'll come home and be exhausted. And that is just part of the event. It's a lot, and it's really great. And it's kind of like the holidays, you know, after that you just kind of crash. So I will come home and can't really crash. I have to grade papers when I get back and then go back to teaching, but I will have a couple days to try to transition back to being here before the time change happens and school starts. And that's the other thing that's kind of hard, is going to Nashville. There's a time change both ways. Then, you know, a few days later, there's a time change as well for everyone. So yeah, lots of adjustments, but also very exciting. So thanks once again for joining me today. I hope that you enjoyed it. And I'd love to hear from you if you'd like to leave a comment letting me know gathering design ideas, favorite floss color for the autumn's acorns. If there's something you've had in mind that you wish I would design, let me know. I reserve the right not to design it because it might be something that would be hard for me to design, but I'd still love to hear from you and know what you're thinking of, or if there's certain kind of finishes you're like, oh, I really would like to see you do a design with this kind of finish. Let me know. I do take things into consideration, and it's always just nice to hear from you too and know what you're thinking of. So leave me a comment in the video, below the video, and let me know what you're thinking. Friends, happy stitching. I will be back again with you soon. Take care.